Dilly the body snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So it's fight week. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Anthony Joshua. Part 2, the rematch over there in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. And to be honest with you, it's come around pretty damn quick. When it was first announced, I thought, oh God, it's going to be ages now. But no, it's here very, very quick. Time is passing us by, it really is. Life is going through our fingertips. Now, can Anthony Joshua get the win? Well, we're going to have to wait and see. Now, for me, obviously, I'm here in the UK, which means I'll be watching it on Sky Sports, pay-per-view, $24.95. For those of you with DAZN capabilities, of course, that'll be part of your monthly or annual subscription, however it is that you choose to do so. Now, as far as this rematch goes, is it the biggest fight of the year? Most certainly. Is it the most anticipated? Most certainly. Is it the fight of the decade? Arguably. Is it the biggest fight ever? Don't know about that, but it's a pretty big fight. And who would have thought, I mean, had we have said that Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Anthony Joshua is going to be a mega event maybe 6-7 months ago, who would have thought that? Not many people, but that's exactly what it's turned out to be. Sometimes it does pay to take a loss. It really does. Now, as far as this rematch happens, how's it going to go? Well, for me, hopefully, Anthony Joshua gets the win. I don't care if he gets it by knockout. I don't care if he gets it on points. I don't care if it's a damn robbery. Well, no, I do care if it's a robbery. But point is, I want Anthony Joshua to get the win. Listen, with Andy Ruiz Jr., I've always been a big fan of Andy Ruiz Jr. Many of you guys know I've spoken to him on quite a few occasions. Real nice guy, and I was one of the guys trying to push for him to get this fight with Anthony Joshua in order to change some of his fortunes around, which ultimately he did. Didn't predict that he was going to win the fight though, but I knew he'd give him problems. But here we are, the rematch. He's set to earn rumoured 13 million. If not, it's going to be several million. And Anthony Joshua rumoured to get about 85 million. Again, rumoured. Either way, he's going to be a very rich man after this one. Or just put it on top of the millions that he's already got. Now, the rematch is highly anticipated. That is for sure. Can Anthony Joshua become a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world? I hope so. And for those of you who hope so too, make sure you are clicking that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. Or even if you don't want Anthony Joshua to win, click that subscribe button anyway, and then come and have a good laugh afterwards if Joshua don't win. Now, I believe Joshua will win, and I believe he'll do it in pretty good fashion as well. I do expect a few hairy moments for him in this fight. As Andy Ruiz Jr., he's got that Mexican style, that never say die attitude about him. He's always had this about him. And his kind of style is, and always has been, historically for Anthony Joshua, a bit of an issue. We've seen that in parts with Alexander Povetkin. We've seen it with Dillian Whyte. We've seen it with all of these guys who are a little bit shorter than Anthony Joshua. Joshua tends to crouch down to their level, which does have its advantages in some ways, but if you've got the height and reach, use it. That's my advice. But who am I to advise? I ain't no trainer. But for me, I believe that Anthony Joshua is going to win this fight and do it quite dramatically as well. I think he's going to go in there. First couple of rounds, he's going to be jabbing him around and showing him who's boss. And ultimately, what Anthony Joshua's got to do is he's got to look back on everything that's happened during the first Madison Square Garden and ask himself that question. Are you going to let Andy Ruiz Jr. get away with what he'd done? If the answer is no, then Anthony Joshua is going to go in there and try and take his head off. But he's going to have to be very, very cautious. Every time Andy Ruiz Jr. gets hit, he throws one back. That's how he fights. So Joshua's always going to have to be alert of the counterpunch. Now, of course, he's got some very, very good sparring. Go check out some other videos that have been uploaded today on this one, where Anthony Joshua, he's been having some pretty good sparring, most notably, in my opinion, the likes of Derek Chisora, who does get on his chest, who does go out there to try and take his opponent's head off, including sparring, and that's exactly what it is Anthony Joshua has been needing. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr., he's been sparring the likes of Michael Hunter and a few others. Is that good preparation for Anthony Joshua? I don't know, to be honest with you. But either way, speaking of Michael Hunter, he will be on the undercard as well, taking on Alexander Povetkin. I'm a huge fan of Michael Hunter, but I want Povetkin to win. Why? Because Michael Hunter's been helping out Andy Ruiz Jr. I'm a little bit bitter that way. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr., before his fight with Anthony Joshua, he was kind of, I don't want to say living on the breadline, but he didn't have too much money in the bank. Him and his family, everything was struggling for certain things. After that win, or even without the win, he got paid very, very well, which changed his fortunes and turned them all around. But now he's getting a load more money for the rematch. Is it a case of, getting out of bed wearing silk pajamas. He's got the house, he's got the cars, he's got the jewelry, he's got all this kind of stuff. Is it a case of, you know what, I don't really need this anymore. Win, lose or draw, I'm not really bothered. I've made the money. Because at the end of the day, it is prize fighting. It really is. And for those of you who watched him fight Joseph Parker, you'll realise that after that, he took a fair bit of time off, almost like he fell out of love with the sport and he went into just doing his own thing. So maybe now he's come back, he wanted to earn a bit more money. Now he's got the money, maybe he can go drift off and go do whatever it is that he wanted to do beforehand, but didn't due to money restrictions. So again, we'll have to wait and see, but nothing can be taken for granted. Maybe this will spur him on. If I beat Anthony Joshua in a rematch, yes, I'm set for life, so is all my family, but I want to earn a bit more. Let's put a bit more money on that pot. So who knows? But for me, I think Anthony Joshua, he's going to be boxing smart in this one. I do expect him to, as I said before, go through some pretty hairy moments where Andy Ruiz Jr., he is going to land on Joshua. There's no way that he's not going to land on Joshua. But is it going to be a case of a punch from the gods, as Joshua called it, or whatever it may be? Who knows? Who knows how this fight's really going to go? But for me, I do think that Anthony Joshua is going to win this one in style, to be honest with you. Even if you don't, even if it's a boring, scrappy fight, I couldn't care less, to be honest with you. As long as he gets to win, I don't care if it's by knockout or by points. All I want is Anthony Joshua to become a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. But I do think Anthony Joshua, he's going to have a couple of feel-out rounds. And then if he gets Andy Ruiz Jr. hurt or wobbled, expect Joshua to be a little bit patient, but then ultimately jump on Ruiz and start throwing big bombs at him. Finish him off the way that he did with Alexander Povetkin. Maybe finish him off the way that he did with Vladimir Klitschko. Who knows? But I do expect Anthony Joshua to potentially get the knockout. I wouldn't put money on it. But for certain, I think that minimum he'll get him on points. If it goes a distance, I fully expect Anthony Joshua to win on points. If it's inside the distance, then Joshua win. Either way, a Joshua win. I'll be happy with that. I'm sure you guys will be as well. And if you're British, hopefully you are supporting him, and whether you like him or whether you don't, he is good for British boxing. Let's be honest about that. Anyway, you guys, you all drop your thoughts below about it. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.